Hi, I'm Ina Burrid, nationally certified yoga therapist with Treetop Yoga Therapy. I am here with my model, Laura, and we are doing a yoga therapy for anxiety session today. Thank you so much for joining us. Did you know that there are 40 million people in the United States today who suffer from anxiety? If you've been to the doctor and had yours checked, you've probably heard exercise is also a great antidote for it. It maintains our nervous system. And so yoga is one of these forms of exercise. The nice thing about yoga is it also gets into the respiratory tract, lowers our heart rate, which then also unfolds tension from the muscles. We'll also offer up to you some meditation techniques that can help clear the mind, settle that fast thinking. There are many forms of anxiety. Generalized anxiety, which are the quick thoughts during the day, can sometimes keep you up at night, insomnia. And there's also anxiety attacks and panic attacks. And if you have them, you know how debilitating they can be. It can keep you from working or being with your kids and really feeling joy with them. So this particular session today is meant to really address both of those conditions. The first, that free-floating or generalized anxiety, is best when you use this particular session 3 times a week. It's 30 minutes long. In addition, we'll have a breathing technique we'll offer up later on in the session called Ujjayi, which you can do in the car, and it only takes maybe 3 to 5 minutes if you're like sitting in the parking lot at the grocery store, taking a moment before picking up the kids, or even at work. And the nice thing about it is once we have calmed our bodies down, when we're in a panic attack or an anxiety attack, we get back to a place where we're feeling clearer in our thinking and also feel like we can trust the decisions that we need to make. So thank you so much, and let's get started. So we begin by centering. It's a pretty simple process. It can be a little bit difficult when you are feeling anxious, so we'll kind of guide you through it with the actual physical muscles. Close your eyes. For some people that can raise anxiety a little bit right off the bat, but just kind of ride it through. For others, it's nice to have that sight, that extra of the 5 senses turned off, so we have fewer distractions and go inside. Feel the way that the sitting bones, the little bumps at the bottom of the pelvis, are pressing into the floor. Softening through the shoulder blades down the back. Notice the way we tend to hold our shoulders up to the ears. That's pretty standard stuff. Most of us do it. If you're feeling that in your body, just let it go. Feel into the jaw. Sometimes at night we clench or we grind. It's helpful to drop that bottom jaw, the bottom teeth, away from the top teeth. Notice if there's tension in the scalp. And really feel the way that your exhale deepens you into the earth. Nice and heavy, right on into gravity. Move your attention then to the breath more completely. Anytime that your mind wanders, and it will, just bring it back to the breathing. We're going to move into Dirgha Swasam, 3-part yogic breath. So often in anxiety, we're breathing from the top third of the lungs and we're not reaching all the way down to the bottom of the lungs. And so we are not fully expressing CO2 out of the body. This particular breathing technique will help you breathe more fully and release some of that CO2 that can feel amped up in the muscles. Imagine the breath is coming all the way down into the pelvis, and you'll fill the entire torso up from there in 3 parts. Let's all breathe out. And when breathing in, fill the pelvis. You can even imagine it in your mind's eye. Come up to the middle of the torso, then all the way up to the top of the torso, right up underneath those collarbones. And then when breathing out, all of that in the opposite order, releasing from the top of the torso, middle of the torso, and then you'll feel the belly button come into the spine, fully engaging diaphragm, pushing the rest out of the lungs. Breathing into the pelvis, middle torso, top of the torso. Feel the slight rise in the collarbones, full expansion of the ribcage. And breathing out in the opposite order. All the way down, emptying the torso. Let's give it one more ride. Breathing in, drop it into the pelvis. Right there in the middle of the torso, all the way around to the back of the kidneys. Fill up that rib cage, expand it out to the arms. If there's a little natural pause at the top, feel free to stay for a moment, and then releasing. Leaving the top torso, middle torso, and the bottom. You can keep this breathing technique without fully focusing on it, but turn your attention to the mind. Notice that there are a lot of thoughts going on. Thoughts include things that you hear, decoding through the five senses, memory. They're moving through the mind, and there is a felt sensation. Can you imagine each thought that you are having is literally dropping into a cool, clean stream in the mind? You're not investigating it, you're literally letting it ride straight on through the mind, one after the other. And feel that flow, becoming less interested in content and more in the feeling. And then here, finally, the last step to centering. Set an intention, something you're working with maybe in this chapter of your life. Really interesting intentions usually have something to do with our outlook or personalities according to ancient texts. A simple one is, I am at peace. Notice how that shifts the mood, and we're ready to begin. Our next one is Yoga Mudra. So with the in-breath, taking the arms out to the sides and reaching all the way up. Follow the pacing of your own natural breath. And then we move into the forward fold, which has very introspective qualities. Awesome for quelling anxiety, any of those forward folds. You can take yourselves out with the arms up on fingertips, the wrists, the elbows lifted, and let your head come down. Or you can literally just soften, or what Laura is doing, and taking her hands interlaced at lower back. Don't worry too much about how high up those arms come. It feels great to stretch. Walk a little over to the sides. Let the body show you what it wants. This approach in yoga therapy is called sahaja, which means spontaneous. And it allows for us to just follow the needs of the body, circumventing any of those quick thoughts which can accompany anxiety. And then we'll come up a couple different ways. I'll sweep my arms out. Laura will creep her hands back, both on the in-breath, coming all the way up. And then exhaling either arms out to the sides or the hands into Anjali Mudra. So our next set of poses, technically called a Vinyasa Krama, is between Purvattanasana. We'll take our arms back, which is the reverse tabletop pose. Fingertips will point towards the heels. Turn those out a little bit if you're protecting in the shoulder. You'll squeeze your elbows in toward each other as if you've got a beach ball between them. Your feet are as wide as the knees, which are as wide as the pelvis, kind of like those legs are in train tracks. And then press through the hands and the feet. Come up as high as you can. It doesn't matter how high you do come up. We're engaging the back body muscles called the extensors. Mostly those hamstrings, glutes, and lower back, which are called the QLs, quadratus lumborum. As you're breathing out, bend those elbows, track them back as best you can. Engage your lower belly into your spine. Come on down to the floor. And then grab the backs of the knees, and with an in-breath, lift up through the spine. Exhale, lean back. With the next in-breath, you can come to the legs at bent like Laura, and if possible, straight. That's an option. And you can release the backs of the knees, also an option, so worry not if it isn't working for you. And let's go between the two of these. As you breathe out, the feet come right back to where you had them. Take your hands, fingertips pointed toward the heels. Feel those triceps fire up. Really taking those knees as far away from the belly button as you can. Follow your breath, breathing out, coming on down. Back into the boat pose, Parapurna Navasana. Breathing out. Notice how slowly we're moving, a nice antidote to quick thoughts and quick movements and quick breath that accompany anxiety. Coming on down. This is about number 3. See if you can go to 5. If not, stop when you need to. Take as many breaks as you need. Hands to the floor. Track those knees. Really feeling them pull away. Arch a little through the chest, but keep a slight bend rather than any hyperextension in the elbows. Last set. Breathing out, you'll land the feet. Breathing in, come on up. And our last boat pose. Coming on down. And there we go. Let's come on down, land the feet so they face each other here. We'll come into our next pose, Baddha Konasana. Our next pose is called the cobbler pose. And, neat little tidbit, it's called this because in ancient India, the actual cobbler himself took the shoe form between his feet, sitting much like this, and then he would nail the sole onto the bottom of the shoe. We are going to bring our feet together. You can bring your heels in as close to the groin as possible, and if you need support up underneath of your knees, we have Laura demonstrating that with some folded blankets right alongside her. Earlier in the video series, we did tell you that we were going to introduce a breathing technique that can help no matter where you are, and this is that technique. Ujjayi breath, victorious breath. On the out breath, we are going to breathe as if we are saying the word ha with the mouth closed. Let's demonstrate a couple of these. Breathing in through the nostrils. And then as you exhale, just slightly close the epiglottis. Sounds like the ocean. Some people say it sounds like Darth Vader. It magnetizes the mind to the sound of the breath, which helps to slow the thoughts down. Now we're going to incorporate it into the pose of Baddha Konasana. With an in-breath, lengthen up through the spine, those blades down the back. Exhale, lean forwards. Come as far forwards as you can with a straight spine at first, so we're strengthening those long muscles which run the length of it. And then finally we'll breathe out and fold into it. Remembering that introspective quality of coming entirely into the forward fold for anxiety. And you can see Laura doing this. She releases the weight of her head so it creates traction for the spine. She can even round the shoulders a little bit. Yeah, see the difference having just let go. And then stay for about 5 breaths, good rule of thumb. When she comes up, she'll bring her head in alignment with the spine. And then take that whole unit, head and spine, up at once, strengthening the lower back and the core muscles. Our next pose is Uttanasana, which means the stretching pose. Uttan means to stretch. So we begin just standing as we are, but take a look at your feet. We want to make sure they're parallel to one another. So often in our culture, we stand with our feet apart a little bit. So bring them so they're parallel. Press down as if you have 4 corners on each of your feet. Really seal them to the earth. The more you press down, the more you'll feel that lifting upwards. Then let's take our arms and out to the side. We breathe in, reach all the way up to the sky. And on the out breath, swan dive down, arms out to the sides. And then let yourself relax here, just hanging. You'll note that Laura will bend her knees a little bit to demonstrate for those who have tighter hamstrings. Allow gravity to really act as traction for the head, pulling on the neck. Once again, really targeting the neck and shoulders where we tend to hold that tension. Next is our clearing breath.
It's a little bit like a dragon clearing fields. We'll breathe in and exhale with an open mouth and clear them. Let's do 3. Releasing a little more deeply each time. Last one. On the next in-breath, press through those feet. Take the arms out to the sides. We'll come all the way up. I'll bring my hands together. Laura will take hers out on the exhale to the sides, and mine are in Anjali Mudra. And we land in mountain pose.
Our next pose is Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Come to the front of the mat, same parallel feet as before, and we will step back with your right foot. When you step back, just kind of check your feet here, make sure that that front heel, if you were drawing a straight line back, would hit the back heel. And then on that back heel, pivot those toes forwards just a little bit. Breathing in, lift up with the arms. The pelvis faces the side of the mat, and then we breathe out and bend that knee. Modification would be to not bend quite so deeply. Check out your back arm. Sometimes it wants to drop a little bit from the front one. Just take a look and then bring it there. Soften the shoulder blades down the back. And now, holding this pose for 5 full breaths, we will incorporate the Ujjayi breathing that we were talking about earlier. You'll take your breath in through the nostrils. Exhale, closed mouth, make the ha sound. All 5 breaths like this, you can hear Laura doing it. This is that breath that you can use in the car, waiting for the kids at school, or in the parking lot at the grocery store, at work. A good 3 to 5 minutes of this on the exhale calms the body. The stillness of the pose itself is an antidote for some of the quickly moving thoughts, quickly moving breath of anxiety. Then take that last inhale, lengthening through the spine, and on the out breath, you'll release the arms, turn towards the front of the mat, slightly bend that front knee to pull the back leg forwards. So let's do the other side, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. We'll step back with the left leg. Start with slightly bent knees. Stepping back. That front foot is pointed forwards. Breathing in, lifting up with those arms. Exhale, bend that front knee. Once again, modify with less of a bend if you need. Sink those shoulder blades down the back. And let's return to Ujjayi breathing. Breathing in. Exhale through a slightly constricted throat. Keep on doing this. If you like, you can take the tip of your tongue right behind your upper front teeth to soften the jaw. Two more breaths for a total of 5. Steady with the eyes. If the eyes are moving around, the brain is firing a little more. And then let's come out, breathing in, press through that front foot, unbend the knee. Take the leg back in place. The next pose is Vrikshasana, the tree pose. It's a balance pose. We are going to start on the right foot. Spread those toes, spread the bones of the foot, feel your balance. Some folks haven't done balance pose in quite a while, so start by lifting the left heel first, just to see how you feel. And then when you're feeling it's all right to do it, take the sole of that left foot against the right ankle. The classic shape, and you can stay there if you like, would be to bring the sole of that left foot up to the inner right thigh. Keep that lower belly engaged. You can go into the last variation, a little bit more challenging in the half lotus by taking the left foot on top of the right thigh. Variations in the arms include out to the sides. And then you can come up if you like. And another one is right there in front of the chest. Keep those toes spread on that left foot. Balance poses, if you're a little wobbly, sometimes are an indication, those wobbles, of a mind which is also very busy. So the balance pose works through the body to help stabilize the mind and also stabilizes the breath. When you're ready, releasing, take the foot back down to the floor. We did it just a few breaths. You can do it more than that at home if you like. We're going to move right on to the other side. Stabilize by spreading the bones of the foot. Take that right sole of foot to the inside of left thigh, or to a little bit higher. Right across the top of the thigh in the half lotus pose. Arm variations of choice. Lots of them to choose. Spread those right toes so that all of the muscles in the right leg are active. Your eye line would be right in front of you on the floor. This drishti acts as a third leg, kind of helps to stabilize balance. When it feels appropriate to do so, you'll release the pose. Our next pose is a quintessential one for anxiety. It's called Viparita Karani, legs up the wall pose. It can be a little tricky to get into. Bring your mat over to a wall with the short end there, right at the baseboard, or a piece of furniture like we are using. Bring your hip to the wall and pivot. So the legs come up as if this were the face of a clock and your feet are at 12. Allow the arms to lay on the ground with the palms turned upwards. Slide the blades down the back. And just settling in. Noticing Laura is doing a variation with her legs in a chair, which means you could do this in the living room using the couch even. This softens the lower back. You can do this in bed at night. We frequently in yoga therapy suggest this pose for insomnia, to do it before you go to bed or even if you wake up and you can't get back to sleep, and doing your legs up the headboard, if that works for you. Perceive the way that the fluids, the blood flow, interstitial fluids, are slowly draining down the legs into the pelvis, and that helps to regulate breathing. Stay for about 3 to 5 minutes. If you want to stay longer, just using your own intuition. And when you are ready, you can come out of this by bending the knees. Lean over to the side and then press yourself up slowly. And then take a moment, a full stop, to feel the effects. So you're probably feeling pretty relaxed by now. The last pose that you will come to in any yoga class is the corpse pose, or shavasana. Pretty basic pose, lying on your back. You can add, if you like, a bolster up underneath the knees, like we have for Laura here, just to help soften that lower back into the floor more. Additionally, if you like, you can place a rolled blanket up underneath of the neck for cervical support. Collarbones are wide, the palms are turned upwards so that the upper arms are externally rotated, helping the shoulder blades to deepen more fully into the earth. Close the eyes. Sometimes when we have a lot of anxiety, that's a little difficult to do, just like in the beginning. See if it works for you. If you'd like to, you can keep them open but half-lidded. We'll move through the physical body first. Just notice if there's any residual tension. And any place you might feel that, invite it to soften. Spreading through the shoulders, through the pelvis, opening through the feet. Allow them to flop open. They've been doing a lot of work throughout this session. And then allow the breath to just move in and out of the body quite naturally. Just this little ribbon of energy. You do not have to work for. The autonomic nervous system takes care of that for you. Just following it. And then finally, turn back to the thoughts. See if you can imagine that they themselves fall into gravity. That each thought as it's made falls towards the back of the head. Stay a little bit more focused on the space in which the thoughts have been floating. Typically you'll stay here for anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. Take as long as you like at home. And then when you're ready and it feels appropriate, we'll have Laura remain here. But at home, please feel free to come back upright to a seated position. And then give yourselves a moment to thank the body for working so well with you, for honoring your need to take care of yourselves. In yoga we sing namaste, which simply means I bow to you. So thank you so much for joining us today, and namaste.